and we've spoken about them in the past.
Baroness Thomas of Winchester.
I beg leave to ask a question standing in my paper and say that I have a Motability card myself.
My Lords, there are now more people on the Motability Scheme than before the personal independence payment was introduced. And there is £175 million of transitional support for those who lose entitlement. Personal independence payment maintains the key principles of disability living allowance, whilst better targeting support at those with the greatest needs. The Government is committed to its safe, secure rollout and has no plans to reassess it.
Notwithstanding what the noble lady Minister has said, does she not agree that it is one thing for a working-age person not to receive enough points at the first assessment to be entitled to a Motability car, but it is quite another to have your existing Motability vehicle snatched away, not because you've got better, but because the test has been made impossibly harsh? Does not run counter to the Government's aim to halve this number of disabled people out of work?
This Government is absolutely committed to supporting disabled people, but the disability living allowance was inconsistent and subjective, whereas the personal independence payment assessment is more consistent and fairer.
My Lords, is the noble Baroness, the Minister, satisfied that the individuals chosen to assess the nature and significance of the disability in disabled individuals are properly qualified and trained in order to carry out such assessments, and in doing so, do they employ well-defined and reproducible criteria?
My Lords, the Government is satisfied that those carrying out the personal independence payment assessments are qualified to do so, and indeed reports suggest that the assessments are running better than the previous DLA regime.
Considering the numbers of PIP recipients who win on appeal, does the Minister agree with me that it would be much fairer to leave the Motability card with the person while they wait for the appeal decision to come through, especially if the card has had an expensive adaptation?
My Lords, the time taken for appeals is being reduced, and certainly the first step is a mandatory reconsideration, and in general the mandatory reconsideration takes place before the Motability car needs to be returned, as there is the 7-week period. However, there is the long-standing policy of the Department that if it is assessed that somebody is no longer entitled, then that car must be removed pending appeal.
My Lords, the Minister thinks the system is working better. I think one must ask for whom. The BBC reported in February that 14,000 disabled people had had their Motability cars taken away from them. That was 45% of the 31,000 who'd had an assessment. My Lords, if that scales up, we're going to see hundreds of thousands of disabled people not having access in future to a Motability car. So could I ask the Minister again the question put to her by the noble Baroness Lady Thomas of Winchester? How does this contribute to the Government's aim to halve the disability employment gap?
The Government is absolutely committed to halving the disability employment gap, and also we do understand that being reassessed for any benefit can be a challenging time, which is why, after discussions with my department, Motability announced a £175 million package of transitional support. Those who lose their cars can get £2,000 for a new one, can buy their old car, and are given time to adjust. But the idea of the reassessment is that the DLA was inconsistent. Many people had lifetime awards, whereas PIP offers a more consistent and fairer approach.
The mileage on the clock on one of these vehicles determine how long the vehicle is held for as against the number of years, the age of the vehicle. I
think that the the current rules that we use for assessment do allow people to buy their used Motability car if they so wish, but the rules of the scheme have been carefully set and assessed.
My Lords, could
is the government confident that the 4 reliability criteria are being clearly explained to claimants by all health professionals in view of the high success rate of PIP appeals?
The success rate of the appeals in PIP have much more to do with the fact that the appeal case hears far more evidence, and the person who is appealing has had time to put forward their arguments, and would normally hear new evidence and different evidence from that which has been placed before the assessor in the past.
My Lords, could the noble lady say, could the noble lady say whether the Department of Work and Pensions monitor the accuracy of assessments by Maximus and Capita, and what action is being taken against assessors who make inaccurate assessments? And perhaps this could be an opportunity where disabled people could be employed.
A very small number of the cases do actually go to appeal, and at this moment we are confident that the processes in place are doing the work that they need to do.
My Lords, I estimate that perhaps 200,000 people currently having Motability cars are going to lose them as a result of the PIP activity, and very many of those will appeal, and they will win their appeal. Given that the Minister has accepted, has admitted, has shared with the House that the appeal procedure is infinitely more reliable than the original PIP decision by virtue of the additional information they have, can I ask her to reflect on a previous answer she gave, so that, as a result, people can keep their cars until the appeal procedure has been completed?
The current level of appeals is extremely low, and of course we don't wish to give people any incentive to appeal. But I also need to point out to my noble lords that there are more people getting Motability cars now than there were before PIP was introduced.